Last year, my boyfriend and I bought a farmhouse from 1820. The farm is called Runestone Valley, named after a runestone that was discovered back in 1627, only 1.5 kilometers from this place. We are Simon and Simon, and this is Phoebe, and this is our mission, to save Runestone Valley one project at a time, and to make it our home. Winters in Denmark can get pretty cold. And when you live in a house that's more than 200 years old, where drafts sneaks in through windows and doors everywhere, staying warm without going broke can be somewhat of a challenge. When we bought this house just under a year ago, its primary heating source was this oil furnace that's located here in the utility room, and it works fine. In fact, this furnace can easily heat the entire house. The problem is it runs on oil, and the prices for oil in Denmark are sky high. So one of the first things we did last winter was to contact a heat pump installer to replace the oil furnace with an air-to-water heat pump. But the message we received was that such a system wouldn't actually be able to heat the entire house in the coldest winter months, unless we also replaced all windows and doors, and perhaps also insulated the walls a little better than they are now. And that was a bit of a setback, because we certainly couldn't afford both a brand new heating system and also to replace all windows and doors in the entire house. The thing is, we know the house's thatchered roof is living on borrowed time, and replacing it will be one of the most expensive things on our renovation budget. And I'll tell you more about the thatchered roof in a later video, and also about our renovation budget. And hopefully I'll also be able to show you when the thatcher starts replacing the north side of this roof this summer. But what do you do to stay warm when oil is insanely expensive and a heat pump isn't an option? The answer to that question was strangely enough found in the old horse stables, which were packed with old firewood just waiting to be used. Unfortunately, there was only a small wood stove in the living room, far too small to heat even that one room. But there was also a large open fireplace, built in the 1960s or 1970s, we think, a time when such fireplaces were very popular. It was intended as a decorative feature, because open fireplaces really don't send much of the heat into the room. Most of it gets sucked up the chimney. Unless you install a fireplace insert. A fireplace insert makes much better use of the firewood, sending 80 to 90% of the heat out into the room. So we hired an expert in fireplace inserts and had him order a custom-built insert for our specific fireplace, and then install the insert. It was a lot of work, but once the about 1 month of waiting time for the custom-built insert was over, the whole thing was installed and ready for use in just 1 day. The chimney needed upgrading as well, and had a steel tube installed in order for the fireplace to get the right draft. Getting a fireplace insert installed isn't cheap, especially if you want a double-sided one like we did, so that you are able to see the fire from both ends of the living room. The fireplace insert and the upgrade of the chimney cost us, and brace yourself, 60,000 Danish kroners. But if you crunch the numbers, we actually spent 24,000 kroners on oil last winter. And since we had the insert installed, we've more than halved our oil consumption. So we're pretty confident that in just a few years, we'll have saved enough on oil to cover the cost of this insert. And we have the huge bonus that besides all the firewood in the stable, we also just had 5 big trees cut down. And once I've started the process of cutting all that up and laying it to dry, we'll have firewood for many years to come. And one extra bonus. Besides being good for our finances, the new fireplace also creates a lot of hygge, which is something we really value in Denmark. There are lots of things on this farm that are not quite up to today's standards, and one of those things are actually the lighting situation, outdoor lighting. This farm is very dark at night, and now that we've gone into the cold winter months, it gets dark really early, like 4 o'clock in the afternoon actually. It's almost completely dark already at 4. And this farm actually only has one, I repeat, one outdoor light. And that's this one light here in the courtyard. And it's quite a cozy original light from, probably way back. But only having this one single light in the entire courtyard and actually on the entire property at night means that in the middle of the afternoon, when we're actually still working and doing stuff and walking over the courtyard to the garage to get stuff, oftentimes we find ourselves walking with our cell phone with the lights turned on in order to not to stumble when we walk to the garage, for instance. And that's not very optimal, especially if you have your hands full of stuff you want to carry from one place to another. So yeah, we need to upgrade the lighting situation, especially now that we're going into the winter season and actually 16 hours of the day are in darkness. So we have found some outdoor lights that we really like and that were also very fairly priced. So let me show you some of those. And that is a Philips outdoor light. This is what it looks like. And we really like this model here. It's both modern and traditional at the same time. So we have actually bought 10 of these. 8 boxes are here. There's an extra box down there, and I forgot where the last one is. But actually, I think I might buy 2 more because I've been walking around the property to try to identify where I want to hang these lights, where we need light. And at first I had found 10 places, and that's why I bought 10 lamps. But I found 1 or 2 more places where I think we might need some light in the evening time. But let me show you where those spots on the property are that I want to hang these lights. Let's begin out here in the street in front of the farm, and then we can work ourselves inwards on the property. But here in front of the yellow barn from 1941, I want to hang 2 lights, one here and one here. And then over here, I want to hang one there as well. I don't think we need one over here, and also that will put a spotlight on the trash cans, which I'm not sure that that's gonna look very nice. So one there is fine. So 3 in total out here. And then here in this carriageway, or what you call it, I want to hang one here as well. We do have one old light fixture up here, which is connected to this motion sensor. But that means that it actually only turns on once you get all the way into this area here. And that means that, that it's completely dark until you get to here. And then this turns on, which is fine. But it would be nice to have a permanent light on the wall here, which I also think would look very nice. And just right next to here, I want to place a light here, so that we also have some light in this area. And then over here by the entrance to the garage, I want to hang one here and one here. And then we have this one light that I think we want to keep. And then I want to hang one here at the utility room entrance. And then also one here, which is over to the stables, but we actually use this room quite a lot as well. And then also one down here to this area that we also use quite a lot in the evening time. So let me see, how many was that? 3 out in front, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then over here in this small passageway, I think it would be nice to hang one here as well, because oftentimes we're walking through here also at night to get to the garden. And this here is actually a small residence. In Danish it's called a kælekammer, a servant's room or a farmhouse room, where they used to stay and sleep at night. And there's also this small stone walkway in front of here, so I think it would be really nice to also have a light here. So that's the 11th one. And then the 12th one, I'm not completely sure if I need that. But it's down here in this small passageway. We don't usually go this way around at night, but we might need a light here. But I'm thinking maybe instead of hanging a light, maybe I should just have a kind of a spotlight on the ground, lighting up the facade here, because in the whole summertime we have this very nice wisteria that is completely green, and so I think a spotlight here might be better. So maybe it's just one more of these Philips outdoor lights that I need to buy, 11 in total. And let me try to hold this up so you can see what it would look like, some of the various places I've just pointed out. I'm imagining that this would be hanged just around here. And just next to there, I think I would be hanging it right here. And over here by the entrance to the garage, I think it should hang here. And here by the farmhand's quarters, it will probably hang something like this. So that's just to give you an idea of what this lamp would look like, some of these places I'm planning to hang it. Of course, electrical installations outside needs to be done by a professional electrician, but because I really love doing a lot of these projects myself and enjoy doing as much as I can, I've talked to our local electrician and he said that it's okay if I drill the holes for the wires and hang the lamps and all that preparation stuff, and then he can come and make all the connections and look through what I've done and sign off on it all. So all of that initial preparation work before he comes and attaches everything, I will get started doing now. And I think I'll start outside here in front of the garage, because I have these thick garage walls where I need to find the exact placements that I want to hang the lamps and drill holes. And as you can see, it's quite a thick wall, so so let me see how that goes. Oh, and by the way, now that we're out here, do you remember a couple of times ago I removed some tiles that I had laying here in the square, and I sowed some new grass? That has already grown in very, very nicely. So I guess those grass seeds weren't too old actually. So that mini project turned out really nicely, I think. I've now measured 61 centimeters. I just kind of placed it over here to see where I think it looked nice. And that turned out to be 61 centimeters from this inner edge. And then 10 stones down from the corner. So that was just about there. And I made a mark over here for the same placement. And I think that placement looks really nice. I don't want them to be too high up, because I primarily want the light on the ground as a kind of a cozy lighting vibe here. Let me measure up in here on the other side so I can see where I will be drilling. I think it's going to be right around here somewhere, so that should be fine. I don't want to hit that one, but that seems lower than where I want to place my lights. 55. Fjerde sending. Oh my lord. That's right where this wire is. Okay. My loosely measurements tells me that I'm going to be drilling right about here where this high voltage wire for the car charger is. And I think that's both good and bad. The bad is I really don't want to drill into this one. The good news is that it would be nice to have the wire to go up just right next to this wire, because that would of course look very clean. But if I drill very carefully from the other side, then I think I'll be able to stop, and then this luckily has a metal piping along it, so I'm not just going to be drilling through that very easily. And luckily from an earlier project I have this very long drill bit, and this seems to be long enough. Just about. Yikes! Would you look at that? Very nicely hit. Perfect situation for the wire to actually follow this line up here. I think before I drill hole number 2 over here, I want to drill the 2 small holes to actually hang the lamp to make sure from the road that I think the height looks right. Because now I only have 1 hole drilled, so if I want to adjust it, it should be now before I drill any more holes. So that's sort of the finished height that I was thinking. I've just screwed it on loosely to see what it looks like. It's a really nice light, I think. Let me go to the street and see what it looks like. That looks perfect, I think. I'm not sure if... No, I don't think it should be any higher up. That'll look awesome with lights in it. Time for the second one. I can tell straight away that this one is a little crooked, so I need to take it off again and adjust the screw. Hopefully that did the trick. Let's see. Still a tiny bit uneven. It's a bit further down here. I'll need to drill the hole in the plastic a little larger. Now I really hope that this did the trick. If not, this is gonna be a mess. Phew, that looks perfect now. Completely straight. And this is what they both look like. That's going to look really nice with lights in them at night. So 2 down, 9 more to go. Oh my lord. And this is not even the most necessary I've started with. This is just out by the road. The most necessary we need is actually in the courtyard. But yeah, I'm gonna hang them all so they're all ready to be wired up by our electrician later. But even just such a small lighting project takes a lot of time, so that's definitely not going to be this time around. For pretty much the entire year that we've had this house and this property, I've been keeping an eye on the field right outside our property. This year they've planted sugar beets there, and I've been really curious about them. And I've watched them closely from they were tiny sprouts, growing bigger and bigger during this year. A couple of weeks ago, Simon and I went out to dig up a few beets and make lanterns. And that's when we got to see how big they have grown. And now they are finally getting harvested. It's pretty impressive to watch the large specialized machine that can pull up these beets from the ground in no time and pile them up near the road, ready for trucks to come and take them to the sugar factory. And I can see right afterwards, as soon as the beets are being harvested, they are already plowing the field. I'm not sure if it's wheat or barley that will be planted in our field this year, but since they're plowing right away, I think they might plant soon. So I think it'll be exciting for me to follow along next season now that the beets are in, and we'll soon see new sprouts. And by spring, we'll get to watch the whole process over again, but this time with wheat or barley instead of beets. Last time I took down the old fence in the garden, and today I'm going to cut down the 2 dead apple trees and a 3rd smaller tree that are just in the way, so we can get this area cleaned up and ready for all the wood chippings from all the branches that we have lying here in the garden. So let's get to cutting some of these apple trees and other things down. I think I'll start out with this strange tree that in Danish is called Christian, I think, which I don't know what's called in English, but it's the one with the red berries. It's leaning quite a bit, as you might be able to tell. So I'm thinking this is the easiest one to cut and just let fall this way. But first of all, I think I need to remove a little of all of these branches here that are laying up against the tree. So that's the first project. So far, so good. This is actually my very first tree to ever try to cut down by myself. I guess it's a bit scary when you have to do it yourself. I know what you might be thinking. This is not a tree, this is just a large branch. And I would agree, it's a very small tree, but nevertheless, I'm sure it'll be fine. You might be wondering, why did I cut it up there instead of down here? I'm sure if you're used to cutting down trees, you're not wondering at all. But when the guy that we hired to cut down our trees in the garden actually cut them like this, I was wondering about it. As you can see here, we have 1 tree stub left that we asked him to leave because we want to carve out a chair in it. But this is the way he cut them down, all the way up here. And I asked him, how come you cut them up there? Because then you have to cut them again down here later. And I love asking dumb questions like that because that's the only way I learn stuff from people who know what they're doing. And he told me, well, this is a lot better and a lot safer to do it this way because when I cut them here, I can do it in standing height, and when the tree starts to fall, I can easily move out of the way. I don't have to get up first and risk stumbling or anything like that. So this way I can cut it while standing, and then it only requires, 1 extra cut to take the root down there. And that's, even though that's a little extra work, it's a lot safer to do it this way. So I thought I'd try to copy his approach and do it the same way. I know you're probably laughing and saying, well, you probably didn't have to do that with that small of a tree. But nevertheless, now I tried that technique and that really worked well. So now I just need to cut off the last piece. I'm really losing light here quickly. It's getting dark early. It's only 4:15 in the afternoon and already it's very dark. I know you might not be able to see it here on screen because the camera is compensating a lot, I can tell, but it is getting really dark, and in just a half an hour I would almost not be able to see anything. I really have to get an early start these days in order to get something done in the daylight time. So the 2 dead apple trees here will have to wait for tomorrow. But it was quite fun cutting down a tree, so nice with another day of that. It's a new day, and that means time for apple tree cutting. I've brought out both my electric chainsaw and also this telescope saw, because I'm still not a very experienced tree cutter, so I think I better take it easy and maybe start by taking as many of the tall branches as I can with this apple tree. It's not a very big tree, but I don't feel confident enough just chopping off these larger branches because even though the tree is dead, these branches might still be quite heavy. So just to be a little safe, I'm going to reduce the weight of them first. That was hard work pushing that over, but the crazy thing was that I was able to push it over. But it's because it's actually very, very rotten inside. And look at all these small animals and beetles that are slowly but surely eating this tree from the inside out. Sad to see this apple tree go, but I'm guessing it's the same with this second one. It's a bit smaller, so let's take that one as well and see if there's just as many beetles in that one. That doesn't look nearly as bad as the other tree, but maybe this died later and the other has been dead for quite a while probably. But that was the 2 apple trees cut down. We need to plant some new ones maybe this spring or whenever the best time is. I think the best time actually might be now here in the fall, but we are not really ready to plant new trees just yet. There's still a lot to do here, and I will continue with this project. I need to clear out a lot of this old plastic and old carpets and everything that is placed in this part of the garden. And also get all of this blackberry weeds out of the way, so that I very soon can begin to wood chip all of these branches and place over here to level this out. So yeah, still a lot to do in this garden project, but that will be jobs for upcoming videos. And if you would like to follow along as we try to renovate this house and also get the garden in a little better shape, be sure to subscribe, and then I will see you next time.